Today, we're looking at Private Reserve's Cosmic Cobalt. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Private Reserve's Cosmic Cobalt is a blue ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put it into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a fountain pen Revolution Himalaya with a flex nib to take my notes for this video. Before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. And up first is the chromatography, and I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. We see that it immediately starts to push up the page, leaving only some very light blue behind, and it gets darker as it moves up with a nice dark blue line right across the top. But this is a true blue ink. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. Now across the bottom, we see a darker blue line that's gonna hold on, but then that light blue pushes up. It becomes the darker blue with that very dark blue that does reappear at the top. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pens. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, this ink has really no trouble. There's a slight bit of, spread that occurs, but it is the slightest amount. It would not stop me from using this ink if I had to highlight. Looking at the water, we see that it completely reactivates and starts pulling it entirely off the page. Now that's only 30 seconds and most of it is going away. I can see some of the dots of the dot pad coming through. Makes me feel that water is all that's going to be needed to clean this from your pen. But pen flush lifts even more of it. While it does leave some of that light blue, we see white of the paper coming through. And bleach, as would be expected, completely obliterates it from the paper. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Private Reserve's Cosmic Cobalt has a viscosity of 2.37, which makes it a very normal flowing ink. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Private Reserve's Cosmic Cobalt has an average dry time of 12 seconds, which makes it very normal ink. So it's a normal viscosity and a normal dry time, which is quite nice. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form just to, break things up, I guess. Because I don't buy samples, apparently. To keep my writing samples consistent, I like to use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium Goulet nib, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. I have to calm myself down just looking at this ink. It makes me it just like puts energy, just wow. This color is just wow. Alright. Clairefontaine. Clairefontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. But the color is just, extra fine. It is definitely a lighter tone. It has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, and no shade. 7 seconds to dry. But the color is just pop. Medium, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 13 seconds to dry. Looking at the scrubby, we know we're not going to get any color variation, and we don't. And we could recover it if we smeared it. So there's some good news. Tomoe River. No bleeding. We get ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, and pop as color. Just my opinion. Your opinion could be different, but I'm going to tell you what, with this color, your opinion would be wrong. I don't tell people that too often, but if you don't think this color pops, then you're wrong. Sorry. Argue with me in the comments. I'll agree with you not to argue, but pop. I feel like just the writing is going to run away. It's just off the page. It's amazing. Extra fine, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 10 seconds to dry. Very short dry time for Tomoe River. The medium has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 21 seconds to dry. Right, the scrubbies show us that we're not going to get any color variation, and we don't. The smear says you don't get to recover it because you wrote on Tomoe River. That's a lot written there. But you can't see it because it's smeared. Down here, there's directions to pirate gold, and it's smeared and it's lost forever. If those pirates weren't using Tomoe River, they'd know where their gold was, or we'd be able to go find it or something. Damn you, One-Eyed Willie. Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. 1.1, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, popping off the page. Extra fine. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. Definitely a lighter tone than we got in the 1.1. Definitely a darker tone than we're going to see with the medium. You know, I did use this with a Himalaya to write my notes. And I didn't get any of the stuff. It is just a wow color. Just wow. I wish I was in college still so I could use this, because people would wonder what kind of freaky blue this is. Just wow. The medium, definitely a darker tone than what we're getting with the extra fine. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 12 seconds to dry, which is not unreasonable. Now when we look at the scrubby, the extra fine looks like it should have some color variation, and it doesn't. You lie. Medium says we get no color variation, and we didn't. The smear test says if we smeared this, we would be able to recover it, and I believe it, even though the scrubby lied. The smear hasn't lied. The scrubby lied. Don't trust the scrubby, because it's a liar. So I went to Moji paper, because I like looking at different papers, and what this would do, I don't know why I didn't test this on yellow paper. I'm looking through my samples, and I don't see the yellow. I don't know why. Just this kind of blue makes me wonder. I don't know. This is Post-it, so it's going to bleed like crap, and it's not going to look real good. But look at that. Even on crappy paper. Look at that. I mean, this color just has pop. That probably took like 40 pages off that pad. What were we looking at? We were looking at Moji paper. We had no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. Not as poppy a color. Very nice blue. Not as poppy. Not as great here. It's good. It was great. It's just good. I mean, I would take just good any day. Considering there's so many blues, great is what you want. And this has really just pow. I like it. Can you tell? Let me know if you can tell. I don't know. Whatever. Or don't. Extra fine, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 4 seconds to dry. Medium has no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, and no shade. 6 seconds to dry. So it dries very fast. It's just that as the paper pulls it in faster, we lose that pop. And it becomes less bold. Because it was bold before, but it wasn't obnoxious, which is weird. Because like the Bay State Blue, I like Bay State Blue by Noodlers. It's obnoxious blue and bold. So sometimes when I'm writing and I really want it to just stick it in someone's face, just stick it in their face, to use that Bay State Blue. Because that jumps off the page and slaps someone. This one just jumps off the page and says, look at me. Anyway, 6 seconds to dry. With those faster dry times, we lose that. Scrubbies on the extra fine and a medium show no color variation, and we didn't get it, and I believe with the smear, we would be able to recover it. So I said, let's look at an even worse paper. And here comes the moleskin. Now with the medium, we got a ton of bleeding. With the extra fine, only spots of bleed. None of this touched the page below. So anybody who's used moleskin paper with a fountain pen knows that's good news. Looking at the medium has, well, feathers,
crazy feathers. The feathers from the L are almost reaching the feathers from the T. It's like they're reaching out for each other. It's like, come on, we can phone home. I don't know. There's crazy feathering. This ink makes you energetic. It's 5:30 in the morning. No halo, no shade, no sheen. Extra fine. Doesn't come across as an extra fine. Comes across a little more as a fine, as a wide fine. Definitely not a medium, but like a wide fine. It has feathering all over the place. It looks like it's a disease spreading. It's just everywhere. No halo, no sheen, no shade. 2 seconds to dry. So with that 2 seconds to dry, looking at the extra fine, actually this is not bad as a knockaround ink with this notebook. If that's really the notebook you have to use, this is not horrible. You get spots of bleed nowhere near touching the page underneath. Just don't use a medium. Don't use a wet. Looking at the scrubby, we are definitely not going to get any kind of color variation. The smear test, though, says you can recover this if you smear it, which in a pocket walk-around notebook is likely to happen, especially a notebook that small. And that's all I have for the writing sample. Popping off the page. Pop.
Instead of finding inks that look like Private Reserve's Cosmic Cobalt, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I've chosen Robert Oster's Fire Engine Red because it is a very vivid red to go with this vivid blue. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Private Reserve's Cobalt Blue? I think this is one of the best blues that are out there. It screams blue. It's vivid, it's bright, it's energetic. It makes you feel energetic. I like using it. It's a great ink to use, especially on a morning that you feel tired. I just like looking at this ink. Thanks for watching.